Mr. Speaker, I move that the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and Defense review the agreement establishing the Advisory Center on WTO Law 2001.
Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Leader of the Government, House, second. Honorable members, the Honorable Acting Attorney General has moved a motion to refer the treaty to the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and Defense. I can confirm that the Acting Attorney has provided me with copies of the treaty and written analysis as required by Standing Order 130, Clause 2. Therefore, pursuant to Standing Order 130, Clause 3, the treaty and analysis stand referred to the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and Defense for consideration and review. The committee may table a report to Parliament not later than 30 days from today. Well, thank you, honourable members. We will proceed to the next item on the order paper. Honourable members, I now call upon the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs, the Honourable Ilyas Wanawalu, to move his first motion for debate. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I move that Parliament debates the review report on the 2022-2023 Ministry of Ethiopian Affairs, Culture, Heritage and Arts Annual Report. It was tabled on the 13th of March 2026.
Is there a seconder?
Honourable Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable Mbia, second. I now invite the chairperson of the Standing Committee to speak on his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Ministry of Ethiopian Affairs, Culture, Heritage and Arts Annual Report 2022-2023 outlines the ministry's effort to strengthen good governance, culture preservation, and socio-economic empowerment of the Ethiopian people. During the reporting period, Mr. Speaker, the ministry continued to advance in its vision of a transformed Ethiopian family for a better Fiji, supported by strategic priorities in governance, well-being, culture conservation, economic empowerment, and language preservation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee in its deliberation highlighted the following recommendation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommends that the ministry to establish a dedicated trust fund for VKB-related revenue, strengthening partnership with the Ethiopian Trust Fund, and develop an income generation initiative. Mr. Speaker, sir, secondly, the committee recommends that the development of a secure digital platform for VKB's registration, implementing a robust cybersecurity measures, and conduct a targeted awareness campaign through Fiji's diplomatic mission to increase the diaspora's engagement. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommends that the ministry ensure adequate fundings and capacity buildings for GCC's operation and expedites the rollout of the Fiji National Cultural Policy and related framework through the stakeholders' engagement. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommends the increase in the ministry's budgetary allocation for title dispute resolution, implement mediations mechanism, create economic opportunities, and infrastructure development in rural areas to reduce migration. Finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommends the ministry to formalize a gender representation target at executive level, finalize a MOU with the Sogosongo of Amarama, and implement a gender-based violence awareness program across the province. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee acknowledges progress in the policy reform, cultural preservation, and community engagement, but notes an ongoing challenges in its financial sustainability, digital transformation, infrastructure development, and governance. The recommendation aim to strengthen financial autonomy, accelerate digital services, safeguard cultural heritage, and improve transparency. Hence, implementing these measures will enable the ministry to better serve the Itaukei community and protect the Fiji cultural identity for future generations. On that note, Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for the opportunity.
I thank the chairperson for the Standing Committee on Social Affairs. No. Honourable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion. I have a list of speakers here with me. I think it has been agreed to by the whips that the government speakers will have 5 minutes each, while the opposition will have 7 minutes. I will now, at the end of the debate, we will have the right to reply to the mover. I will call first on the Honourable Minister Vasu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank the chairman and members of the Standing Committee for their careful scrutiny of the report and their constructive recommendation that has been presented to this August House. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry response to the committee's 12 recommendations are as follows. Recommendation 1, for the Ministry to establish a dedicated trust fund account for VKB-related revenue, strengthen relationship with the Itaukei Trust Fund. Honourable Speaker, the Ministry note the recommendations and recall the previous proposal to establish separate trust account for similar revenue stream. We were advised by the Ministry of Finance to continue under the Consolidated Fund Agreement. However, in the response to these recommendations, the Ministry will seek legal advice from the Office of the Solicitor General and further engage with the Ministry of Finance to reassess the feasibility of establishing a dedicated mechanism within existing public financial management framework. On recommendation 2, for the development of secure digital platform for VKB registration, implement robust cybersecurity measures, the Ministry is currently working with the Digital Government Transformation Office to explore the development of secure digital VKB registration platform, including appropriate cybersecurity safeguards. The Ministry is also receiving technical inputs through consultant under the Fulbright program supported by the United States government. In parallel, the project officers have been engaged and specialized digitization equipment has been procured to support ongoing VKB records digitizations. The Ministry continues to collaborate with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade on national diaspora policy, particularly in relation to VKB access, cultural engagement, and investment participation. Mr. Speaker, on recommendation 3, the Ministry allocate resources for climate control storage, strengthen the preservation unit, and secure additional funding for safeguarding the physical records. The Ministry confirmed the existence of a dedicated preservation unit responsible for safeguarding Itaukei Land and Fisheries Commission records. The Ministry will continue to explore the feasibility of climate control storage facilities and will strengthen future budget submission to support preservation and digitization of physical cultural records. Mr. Speaker, for recommendation 4, for the Ministry to ensure that there is adequate funding and capacity building for GCC operations. Mr. Speaker, sir, funding responsibility for Great Council of Chiefs operations is aligned with the Tauke Trust Fund Board under the current institutional arrangement, while the Ministry continue to support broader institutional reforms. On recommendation 6, recommend the increase in the Ministry budgetary allocations for title dispute, resolutions, implementation mediation mechanism, create economic opportunities. The Ministry notes the recommendations and will strengthen its budgetary submission to the Ministry of Finance to support enhanced dispute resolutions and mediation mechanism. The Ministry continues to collaborate with the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development and other agencies on rural infrastructure development and with economic agencies to support livelihood opportunities. On recommendation 7, for the Ministry to expand leadership training programs such as Puli Sauwaki Vanua and Succession Planning Initiative, the Ministry note the recommendations and confirm the continued rollout of leadership programs such as Puli Sauwaki Vanua across all 14 provinces. The Puli Sauwaki program is now delivered as a diploma program throughout Fiji National University in partnership with DFET, the Great Council of Chiefs, the Tauke Trust Fund Board, and the Ministry. For recommendation 8, for the Ministry to formalize gender representation targets at executive level, finalize the MOU with Songo Vamarama. The Ministry notes the recommendations and currently engaging a consultant fund under the Fiji Program Support Platform to finalize the validation. The Ministry Gender Equality, Disability and Social Inclusion. The Ministry is also participating in phase 2 of the gender mainstreaming led by the Ministry of Women, Children, Social Protection. On recommendation 9, for the Ministry to improve monitoring and reporting system to track progress on SDG. The Ministry note the recommendation and confirm that the monitoring and evaluation framework has been developed to track progress against the Ministry's Strategic Development Plan, National Development Plan, and Sustainable Development Goals. On recommendation 10, for the Ministry to expedite review of cultural laws and enact the Traditional Knowledge and Expressions of Culture Bill. The Ministry notes the recommendation and it's working closely with the Office of Solicitor General to finalize the Traditional Knowledge and Expressions of Culture. On recommendation 11, for the continuation of nationwide roadshow, stakeholders forum, and institutionalized feedbacks mechanism to inform policy development. Due to budget constraints, previous planning cycles require prioritization between domestic and diaspora engagement. The Ministry will continue to strengthen its budget submission to enable broader national and international engagement. On recommendation 12, for the Ministry to develop medium-term financial strategy to reduce ad hoc reallocations and ensure predictable funding for critical projects. The Ministry notes the recommendations and acknowledges the importance of strengthening medium-term financial planning. While some reallocations have occurred during the unforeseen national event and operational requirements, the Ministry continues to strengthen its internal financial planning and quarterly reporting system to improve predictability and reduce ad hoc reallocation. The Ministry values the recommendations of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs and will continue to work collaboratively with all relevant stakeholders to ensure effective implementations and sustainable outcomes. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support the motion.
Thank the Minister for Ethiopian Affairs, the Honourable Vasu. I will now invite the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Inyas Serurato.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. I wish to thank the Standing Committee on Social Affairs for this report. At the same time, Honorable Speaker, sir, while looking through the report and taking note of the findings and the recommendations, I also made an effort to look at the GCC review report and the 8 recommendations that are in the GCC review report as well. I've decided to take a sort of a slight different approach rather than focusing on the key findings and the recommendations. I'll just wish to highlight on 2 key issues that are in the report, not necessarily in the findings or specific mention is made in the recommendations, but I know that the findings and the recommendations are well within these 2 issues that I would like to cover in my 7 minutes, Honorable Speaker. The one is on, first one is on the role of the ministry in terms of efforts to strengthen good governance, cultural preservation, and socio-economic empowerment for the Itoke people. Perhaps I wish to emphasize, Honorable Speaker, sir, on the importance of good governance. And we are thankful now that we are sort of current in terms of this annual report because a lot of efforts have been made to bring all outstanding reports for the ministry from way back to 2003, and then now we are sort of current in this report. On good governance, Honorable Speaker, sir, and I wish to relate this to my experience working in the rural areas with the provincial councils. I wish to speak and relate on the 8 characteristics of good governance. The first 2, Honorable Speaker, sir, is participatory and consensus oriented. What I found, Honorable Speaker, sir, mostly in rural areas, while we have the top-down approach to the planning process, there is also the bottom-up approach. And these 2 principles or characteristics of good governance are very, very important. Participatory and consensus oriented. Because in most cases, Honorable Speaker, sir, and perhaps this is one of the contributing factors to failures or weakening of some of the initiatives and projects, people were not ready. You cannot develop someone who is not even willing to be developed. That is why the consensus and the participatory characteristics are so important. Accountability, definitely, Honorable Speaker, sir, transparent, responsive. I will talk about policy formulation very soon, Honorable Speaker, sir. Equitable and inclusive, particularly when we are dealing with all the communities in the rural areas, ensuring that no one is left behind. And for this, data is so important as well, because we need to be sure that the funds are directed to the communities that are in need of it most, rather than just for the sake of providing the assistance, which could be better utilized in other places. And of course, the importance of the rule of law. Honorable Speaker, sir, when I look at the issue on the role in strengthening good governance, I hope that not only the Itoke Ministry, but all government ministries, if they can look into this seriously, because it will help in addressing the issues that are in the findings and in the recommendations, because it boils down to good governance, Honorable Speaker, sir. And the issue about policy formulation and development, effective policy development is concerned with identifying what is the problem that needs consideration by government, gathering the relevant data to help understand all dimensions of the problem, develop alternative strategies to improve or make it better or ameliorate the problem, and predicting the consequences of each alternative action and making judgments about the best alternative to be informed. The reason why I brought this up, Honorable Speaker, sir, because it appears in 3.4, while I'm not talking specifically about the GCC in terms of the findings, but it talks about new policies. And of course, in recommendation 4.11 as well, the committee recommends the continuation of nationwide roadshows, stakeholder forums, and institutionalized feedback mechanisms to inform policy development. What is important here, Honorable Speaker, sir, is I think in rural areas, and we have started this in the Ministry of Rural Development back then, we can have a one-size-fits-all policy. Bonobatu is different from Namuka, or from Kambara, or from Kioa, in terms of resources and the problems that they face. And that is why when we look at the concept of developing new policies, but data is so important in this, if we can go down to that level where we can have specific policies for each of the communities, it would really help us in the long term, because we will then be addressing their specific issue rather than the well-known wider issues that are in existence, Honorable Speaker, sir. And for that to be effective, I would also recommend that ministries and agencies, not only the Itoke Affairs, work together very closely with the Office of National Planning. If the Office of National Planning can bring up concepts or planning guidelines to help link the issues at the communities with the macro level, so that we can be better organized and, of course, contribute as well in the national development. Because we cannot understate the power of the rural economy. There's so much potentials in there, and we can utilize this with good governance and better policy development, Honorable Speaker. So that's my short contribution, and I thank the committee once again and wish the ministry all the very best. Minasa.
I thank the Honorable Seru Ratu, the leader of the opposition. I will now call on the Honorable Nindamu for his contribution.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to contribute to the debate on the annual report of the Ministry of Itoke Affairs for the period 2022 to 2023. I thank the Standing Committee on Social Affairs for tabling of this report, and also to the Ministry of Itoke Affairs for their continued commitment to the stewardship of Itoke institutions, culture, and communal well-being. Mr. Speaker, sir, this ministry plays a unique and vital role in our nation. It stands at the intersection of tradition and modern governance, ensuring that the Itoke identity, values, and social structures are preserved, strengthened, and aligned with the broader national development agenda. The annual report before us reflects the responsibility and highlights the ministry's efforts to remain relevant and effective in a rapidly changing social and economic environment. The ministry's ongoing work on the digitization of the Volni-Kaumbula must be acknowledged. The VKB is integral to our identity as Itoke. It underpins our land ownership system, our social structures, and our sense of belonging. Safeguarding its accuracy and integrity is therefore not only an administrative responsibility, but a national obligation. Mr. Speaker, sir, as this process advances, we must ensure that VKB digitization is undertaken in a way that is sustainable, secure, and respectful of our traditional communities. It is important that the integrity of traditional process is maintained, that data protection is prioritized, and that communities are meaningfully engaged so that confidence in the system is strengthened rather than diminished. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also acknowledged the emphasis placed on safeguarding Itoke culture, language, and heritage. In an era of globalization and digital influence, preserving cultural identity is not about resisting change, but about ensuring that progress is rooted in our values. The ministry's work in this area contributes to intergenerational continuity and provides young Itoke with a strong sense of belonging and purpose. Equally important is the ministry's contribution to community development and social well-being. The report demonstrates ongoing efforts to support villages and communities through structured programs, advisory services, and coordination with other government agencies. Empowering communities at the grassroots level remains one of the most effective ways to address social challenges such as poverty, unemployment, and vulnerability. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm encouraged by the ministry's efforts to raise awareness through roadshows. This is an area that the ministry will need to strengthen so that services are brought closer to the people. I understand that in 2025, the ministry took their roadshow to the UK and received a high level of interest. Strong institutions require accountability, transparency, and capable leadership. Continued investment in capacity building, data collection, and performance monitoring will be crucial to ensuring that policies translate into real and measurable outcomes for our people. As we look ahead, I urge the ministry to continue strengthening partnerships across government with traditional leaders, civil society, and the private sector. Development challenges are increasingly complex and interconnected, and no single institution can address them in isolation. Collaboration will be key to ensuring sustainable and inclusive progress for Itoke communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, while acknowledging the achievements outlined in this report, it is also important that we remain honest about areas requiring improvement. Reports such as these are the tools for learning, reflection, and better planning. Constructive scrutiny by this House will help the ministry refine its priorities and enhance its impact. In closing, Mr. Speaker, sir, I commend the Ministry of Itoke Affairs for the work undertaken during the 2022-2023 period. I encourage continued focus on good governance, cultural preservation, and community empowerment so that Itoke institution remains strong, adaptive, and relevant for generations to come. Ganga sa katigo na kayo Itoke, nasa lebu, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank the Honorable Nyandamu for his contribution. I invite now Honorable John Usumathi to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity to talk to this paper. First, I would like to congratulate the committee that has worked very diligently on reviewing the annual report for the Ministry of Itoke Affairs. A number of issues that I'd like to highlight. First of all, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think in 4.2, if I'm not mistaken, it talks about the importance of the VKB. And I think this is, the VKB is, it's, in fact, I just learned this week that in fact it is a unique, Wole Kambula is actually unique. It does not exist anywhere else. I was not aware of that. So I think it's very important that this recommendation be taken very seriously. Now that we're in a digital world where things can be hacked into, and I commend that particular recommendation about the need to make sure if you're going to digitalize it, make sure that it's absolutely safe and that nobody can tinker with, Mr. Speaker, sir. The second one that I would like to talk about, Mr. Speaker, sir, is in relation to recommendation 4.4. The committee recommends that the ministry ensure adequate funding and capacity building for GCC operations and other things that's recorded there. I would like to say, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the recommendation seems to suggest that there's some more money should be given from money towards the GCC. Now, if you look at the way the Itoke institutions were set up, the Itoke Trust Fund was set up specifically to finance the GCC. If you go back to the clauses of that particular act, In the heading of the Act, it says, the Act on the Itoke Trust Fund of 2004 has the following: to provide financial autonomy of the GCC, earn income for the purposes of the fund and for related matters. So the primary intent of establishment of the Itoke Trust Fund is to make sure that the GCC can be an independent body that is not dependent on government, that cannot be, there can be no policy oversight from government on what it does. As soon as you have financial dependence, you take away that particular issue. This is and I looked again at clause 4A of that particular bill. It says, provide financial independence and autonomy in the operations and administration of the GCC. If you look at the further parts of the bill, it's basically saying the Itoke Trust Fund, its major role is to make sure that the GCC can be an independent body run on its own that's not dependent on others. And I think for all of us, think about chiefs that are there, they should not be hampered about the need to go and get additional funds from somewhere. Because when with funds comes hooks, maybe there can be some influence in it. This is my perception of this. So I think when you're looking about the funding, government might want to consider this, but let me make it clear. I'm talking about acts of parliament that says this organization was put into place to do this, to make sure that the GCC can operate on its own without any shackles, without any possible interference. And I think when we do that, if I use a term in the Itoke, and the Arabaka turanga tagna turanga, when they don't have those kinds of shackles. And you may whistle, but I think that's very important for us, that there can be no possible influence on what they do. And I think if you go back to the GCC that happened at Bao, they also made this particular comment, that they wanted to maintain the independence of the GCC. They made, to do that, now that the chair has been appointed, the secretariat has been established, the organization that was established to set up to make sure that it provides funding for the running of the GCC must make sure that it focuses on that as its primary focus, Mr. Speaker, sir. So that's the issue that I wanted to highlight there, Mr. Speaker, sir. I believe what I'm saying. This is not political. I'm just saying, you establish a body to do one thing, and if it starts doing other things, those things are not its priority. Its priority are the things that is in the Act about what it's supposed to do. To make sure that GCC can act on its own, unencumbered. Because, I mean, we say here and you say, oh, the government is not going to... No, if you're going to give money, it's like politics. You give money, you expect something in return. If you're able to set up a system to make it independent, let's make it independent. So it can provide advice and safeguard the Itoke of this country in all the policies that it does. Second last thing, Mr. Speaker, sir, I totally endorse recommendations on 4.5 on Levuka, the heritage sites. I think we had it also in the heritage bill. The last one, 410, Mr. Speaker, sir, cultural heritage legislation is outdated. Yes, I remember when the Geneva Mission was set up in, I don't know what year it was set up, Geneva Mission, I met Elias Otuiloma there, who drafted the original version of this bill. I think it's the traditional knowledge and expression of culture, and it's taken a long time. It's gone through more than 10 years. I think there were issues in getting all the details together. In September of 2023, the then PS said that they were ready to go to the Office of the Solicitor General, that the consultations would take place in November, December. So I think it's been delayed a bit, but I totally endorse this. This bit about our VKB is unique. Also our intellectual capital, and all of this traditional knowledge and expression of culture, there's been a lot of work done on it. We need to make sure that we can have the legislation in place to protect. I totally endorse that particular recommendation. Thank you, sir.
I thank the Honorable Lusamante for his contribution. I now call on the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Ngavoka, for his contribution.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to contribute to the debate on the Standing Committee on Social Affairs Review Report on the 2022-2023 Ministry of Itoke Affairs Culture and Heritage Annual Report. I begin by commending the chairperson, Honorable Elias Wanawalu, and the members of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs for producing a report that is honest in its findings and deliberate in its recommendations. The Speaker said there is truth that must be stated plainly. Tourism and culture are not separate industries. They are one. Fiji's standing as a global destination rests on the living authenticity of the Itoke heritage. Visitors do not come to Fiji only because of our physical beauty, our hotels, our airlines, our coaches, our cruise boats, and infrastructure. Top of the list is our people, our ceremonies, our land, and the stories carried in this soil and nowhere else on earth. The concerns documented in the report, therefore, belong not only to the Ministry of Itoki Affairs, they belong equally to the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation, because what the ministry protects, ours presents to the world. It presents what is protected. The strength of one is the foundation of the other, and this parliament must hold both accountable to that shared responsibility. The Speaker said the most pressing illustration of the shared responsibility is Levuka. The committee's report records that the Deer of Session site beautification project received an initial allocation of $50,000 against a total estimated rehabilitation cost of $300,000. The verbatim report on the public hearing goes further, confirming that full restoration of Levuka, to a state of outstanding universal value as Fiji's only UNESCO World Heritage Site is estimated to exceed $40 million, with the majority of the damage sustained during Cyclone Winston in 2016. Heritage tourism is among the fastest growing segments of international travel. Fiji holds one of the Pacific's most compelling assets. We must apply ourselves to do the needful for Levuka. Mr. Speaker said during the public hearing, the Permanent Secretary for Itoki Affairs made a direct call for a collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism to elevate Levuka as a heritage destination and to explore how restoration grants can generate returns over time. That calls deserve a direct answer. The Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation accepts that invitation. Heritage trails, cultural accommodation, educational tourism, and bilateral partnerships with international heritage sites are not aspirational ideas. They're executable programs that can generate sustainable revenue and to restore dignity to a town that shaped the history of this nation. Last Monday, Mr. Speaker, I went for a day to Levuka to meet with the Lomaiviti Provincial Council to brief them on the Kuma bill. I was amazed, Honorable Speaker, how pleasant the drive was from Suva to Natovi. Very picturesque. And I remember the years ago when I went to Arkeas in the gravel road. It's such a pleasant drive. And then Natovi to Levuka took about 90 minutes. With better boats, it can be done inside an hour. And we can actually do day trips to Levuka, the people of Fiji. And I've also asked my colleagues if we can spruce up Natovi. That's why you have a lot of people from Lomaiviti and Vanule who converge almost daily. And I'm told by the Minister of Lands that a development lease has been given to a developer to develop Natovi for shopping and the likes. So Levuka has got a lot going for it. We have obtained approval from Cabinet to subsidize the flights to Mbureta, and there'll be 2 a week from August. And of course, University of Fiji will set up a faculty in Levuka in the near future. So Levuka will be thriving, will regain its former glory, and tourism will play its part to make that happen. The report asks government a straightforward question: do we treat heritage as a liability requiring management, or as a national asset requiring investment? Every dollar committed to Levuka is a dollar invested in Fiji's international standing. Every Itoki community empowered within the tourism economy is a community with a reason to stay on the land. The Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation confirms its full collaboration with the recommendation of the committee. Culture is who we are. Tourism is how we share that with the world. I commend the report to Parliament.
Thank you. I thank the Honorable Ngavoka, the Deputy Prime Minister. Our last speaker, I recognize the Minister for Lands, Honorable Wasserong.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for the opportunity to address the House on the 2022-2023 annual report of the Ministry of Itoke, Culture, Heritage and Arts. I want to begin with this firm statement, Mr. Speaker. The Itoke people are custodians of Fiji's indigenous identity, custodians of its vanua, its language, its customs, that forms its living heritage. How we govern and support that foundation matters profoundly, not just for cultural continuity, but, Mr. Speaker, also for the long-term social cohesion and economic resilience of the entire country. The review report lays out both progress and the challenges that continues to persist. It highlights the ministry's work in vanua governance, dispute resolution through the Itoke Lands and Fisheries Commission, the preservation efforts of the Itoke Institutes of Language and Culture, and the initiatives to strengthen traditional leadership. As you may know, Mr. Speaker, a few months ago, the Minister for Itoke had given a press statement on the need to fill traditional leadership, Matangali, Yarusa, at vanua level so that the vanua is led comfortably and ably by those who are traditionally supposed to lead it. These are not peripheral activities, Mr. Speaker, because they form part of the invisible architecture that holds not only the Itoke people, but to an extent, Fiji as a whole. Yet the report also, Mr. Speaker, reveals some hard truths. Heavy reliance on government funding, gaps in financial stability or sustainability, and the urgent need to protect manual records and heritage sites. The slow pace of shifting services to be more Itoke-centered and community-led. These are not minor administrative matters. They reflect deeper questions, Mr. Speaker, about institutional effectiveness and the balance between tradition and modernity. We must be real, Mr. Speaker, about systems loss of a people's identity. Culture and heritage do not preserve themselves. In a rapid changing world with urbanization, climate pressure, and economic demands, passive stewardship is no longer sufficient, Mr. Speaker. The Ministry of Itoke must accelerate and transition towards robust, locally driven entrepreneurship rooted in Itoke resources, while strengthening good governance at the vanua level. And we've heard, Mr. Speaker, about some initiatives in the Ministry of Lands we had in the past few months. We have gone to provide hand-back land, reverted land back to landowners up in Nandala. We've done the same for the people of Itongo. Last week, Mr. Speaker, almost 500 acres of prime foreshore land have been handed over to the Nakobadake, made up of 3 yabusas in Nandi, and also a yabusa called Yaukuilau, Kaukuilau of Nareo Village. And the development that the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister has spoken about, we've also issued lists on the existing jetty structure or part of the jetty structure in Natovi to the traditional landowners who are based out of the village next to it. We accept, Mr. Speaker, committee's recommendation. And for me, as a member of the Itoke Affairs Board, the government is committed to addressing the funding sustainability so the ministry is not perpetually dependent on the national budget. We will prioritize digitalization of records to protect the vulnerable heritage while maintaining the integrity of customary systems. We will continue to support the Itoke Institute of Language and Culture in its vital work of language revival and heritage documentation. And we will continue building the capacity so that Itoke institutions can stand stronger, more reliant, more self-reliant, and better equipped to contribute to national development. Mr. Speaker, the strength of Fiji, as we understand it, has always rested on the respectful partnership between all communities. A confident, well-governed Itoke community does not diminish others. it enriches the whole. When Vanua governance is sound, Mr. Speaker, when cultural heritage of the Itoke is alive, and when economic opportunities flow from traditional resources with fairness and transparency, we build social capital that underpins stability and shared prosperity. The ministry's work, Mr. Speaker, is therefore not sectoral. It is foundational. We will continue to refine our approach as a government, more community-led delivery, greater accountability, and a relentless focus on outcomes that improves the well-being of Itoke families while honoring the diversity that defines modern Fiji. Nasa walevu turang speaker, nalangilang sa Tsukoviti.
I thank the Honorable Wasseronga, Minister for Lands and Survey. I will now call on the Honorable Vanawalu, the Chairperson of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs, to speak in reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The committee noted the positive contribution made by honorable members during this three-page review report, the 2022-2023 Ministry of Itoke Affairs, Culture, Heritage and Arts Annual Report. So, I take this opportunity to thank the executive management and the staff of the Ministry of Itoke Affairs for their commitments, dedication, and unwavering support, which have been instrumental in the successful operation of the ministry. So I humbly request the Ministry of Itoke Affairs for the successful implementation of the recommendation put forward by the Standing Committee on Social Affairs. On that note, sir, I fully support the motion before the House.
Thank you, Honorable Vanawalu. The Parliament will now vote to note the content of the report. Does any member oppose the motion? As no member opposes, the motion is agreed to unanimously. We move on to the next item. I now call upon the Chairperson of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs, the Honorable Elias Vanawalu, to move his second motion.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that Parliament debates the review reports on the 2018-2019 Ministry of Housing and Community Development Annual Report. It was tabled on the 13th of March, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Bala. I now invite the Chairperson of the Standing Committee to speak on his motion.
Honorable Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Housing and Community Development was established in 2018 as a standalone institution, consolidating all urban housing previously under the Ministry of Local Government. It was mandated to increase home ownership, improve access to affordable housing, and strengthening community development for a low and middle income household and informal settlement. Hence, this establishment aligned Fiji's housing government with the National Development Plan and the Sustainable Development Goals. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee in its deliberation highlighted the following recommendation. The committee recommends that the ministry must deliver the development work on time and sitting tenants are given the first priority to obtain a developer land lease. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, sir, the committee recommends that the ministry should continue with its first home ownership initiative, and government must allocate more funding to provide more decent and affordable housing. Thirdly, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Housing Development should ensure that more housing model to assist the recipients of the First Home Ownership Initiative program, while the ministry continue with a high-level consultation on behalf of the tenant with TLTB and landowners. Finally, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Housing and Community Development create an awareness program regarding the importance of acquiring a legal land and building proper houses. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Social Affairs Committee supports the Ministry of Housing and Community Development's effort in developing housing projects for a lower and middle income earning Fiji citizens, further provide a financial assistance to residents in informal settlements who intend to move to their decent housing. The committee entrusts that the recommendation outlined in this report will support the ministry in achieving its objectives by providing more efficient service to the people of Fiji. On that note, Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for the opportunity.
I thank the chairperson of the Standing Committee. Honourable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion. I have a list of speakers with me. Each will be given 5 minutes to speak on the motion. And at the end of the debate, the mover will have his right of reply. I call first on Honourable Parveen Bala for his contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to contribute to this committee report on housing. First of all, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to thank the government for continuing and supporting the First Home Owners Scheme. I know that many were not sure about it when we introduced it, but the fact that this government had continued with it is something that we can all agree on a bipartisan basis. Mr. Speaker, sir, the First Home Ownership Initiative began in 2014 with a purpose. It was designed for a low and middle income Fijians. By February 2021 alone, the ministry's own files show that we had assisted nearly 3,000 Fijian households. Total payout, Mr. Speaker, said, was 28.6 million. But that was just the grant, Mr. Speaker, said. The real impact, recipients used that grant to unlock loans exceeding 42 million from financial institutions. Mr. Speaker, said, and it did not stop there. 48 development lists was obtained around Fiji. The ministry's own lease register confirms that 99-year lease to residents of Klopkot settlement in Ba was issued. We had formalized, we had empowered. The committee's own findings make it very clear that not enough affordable homes to match the grants. The ongoing disputes on the lot allocation. In fact, there was a dispute resolution mechanism, Mr. Speaker, said that really worked, but I'm told now that that has been now reviewed. Now look at the quota settlement or the informal settlement, Mr. Speaker, say, and I want to inform the House that we need to understand, because most of the times a lot of things have been said. We need to understand why we moved out from the Wakavanua arrangement. Mr. Speaker said the idea was to develop the Matangali land with government funding, with the provision of tahsil roads, supply of electricity, supply of pipe water, proper drainage, and footpaths. Also, Mr. Speaker said, fair payment of premium to the landowners. And there were a lot of run around for the Matangalis to collect monthly rental when this was not in place. And it was also resolved at that point in time, Mr. Speaker, that the proper lease to be issued to the existing tenants. And that was the whole idea at that point in time. Mr. Speaker said, the Minister for Housing stated in February 2026, and I quote the Fiji Sun report, that the government was struggling to contain the issue. He said that there are thousands of Fijians now living in informal settlements, and the numbers keep rising. He said we must ask hard questions about why this is happening. Mr. Speaker said, I can fully understand the challenges the ministry is faced with. But Mr. Speaker said, the answer is that we need to fast track the subdivisions where we have got development leases. And I would also like to urge government to provide funding so that these subdivisions can take place. Mr. Speaker said the ministry, as I mentioned earlier on, holds development leases for 48 settlements. But according to the written parliamentary response table in March 2026, 14 of those leases have now been expired. And this is a real concern, Mr. Speaker. If we don't do anything now, if we don't act now, I'm quite sure that there'll be other leases that will be cancelled. Mr. Speaker, a home is not just a roof. A home is safety. A home is stability. When you fail to deliver housing, you do not just create a shelter problem, you create a public health crisis and a social breakdown. Mr. Speaker, look at the drug situation. The Minister for Policing told Parliament in November 2025 that Fiji is facing a national drug emergency. The Fiji Police Force annual crime report for the 2025 recorded over 2,400 drug-related cases. Most offenders, Mr. Speaker, are 18 to 35 years old. Now look at HIV, Mr. Speaker. The Ministry of Health and Medical Services released its 2025 HIV reports in January 2026. The report confirms 2,003 new cases in 2025 alone, Mr. Speaker. 59 babies were born with HIV in 2025, up from 31 in 2024. On average, Mr. Speaker, at least one baby died of HIV each month in 2025. Mr. Speaker, the Housing Authority announced in January 2026 that 3,000 Fijians applied for just 100 new homes. Nearly 2,900 applicants were unsuccessful. Mr. Speaker, because of the time, I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
I thank you, Honorable Bala. I will now call on the Minister for Housing, Honorable Nalumisa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion before the House and also provide responses to the review report of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs regarding 2018-2019 and report the Ministry of Housing and Community Development. With the outset, Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank the Chairperson as well as Honorable Committee members for the diligent scrutiny of this report. Speaker, for the information of the House, the Ministry annual report for 2022 financial periods, 2019-2020, as well as 2020 and 2021, was submitted in the last Parliament sitting. The Ministry is currently working on the last 4 financial periods. The committee has come up with some very important recommendations, 7 good ones, and also will not be responding to all. I'll just be focusing on very important areas that the Ministry has worked on to try and improve the livelihood as well as the economic situation of our people. The Ministry was mandated to serve. These are mostly low, medium to low income earners. And one of the very important recommendations, I agree with the committee, that is for any development that will be undertaken by the Ministry, the sitting tenants should be given the first priority. And for that matter, the Ministry had reviewed the lot allocation policy. It was endorsed in 2023, providing that opportunity to sitting tenants and ensure the processes are transparent and equitable. And also there's an issue on the dispute resolution mechanism, something that we have found out. And when the Ministry worked on some of the current developments, as well as developments that we have completed, there's some differences between families, as well as differences amongst the sitting tenants. So there's a dispute resolution that have been put in place by the ministry to try and address some of these issues. And also on the upgrade of the 48 development leases that were previously acquired. These are the leases that assist the ministry to formalize these informal settlements. To date, the ministry has completed 4. This from the since 2015. And these are the Duvu, Dendusasa, Pendamdamu, Ianienosori, as well as Tavela, Nandi, providing secure tenure to close to 519 households. And 8 projects are currently in the construction phase, including Sakoda in Suva, as well as Ndeliso in Lutoka, which will accommodate close to 600 more families. And the remaining settlements are progressing through the planning and preliminary survey phases. The issue that we have now is, as I alluded earlier by Honorable Bal, is that close to 14 development leases have expired. These are mostly Tauke leases, and this has come about because there was no planning done initially before the development leases were acquired. And we have done, the ministry has done its best to, the target is for the next 8 years, we're going to develop 4 settlements in a year to be able to achieve the target. And the issue on support given by the ministry on the 2 housing agencies, these are Public Rental Board as well as Housing Authority, the subsidies will continue. And one thing that the ministry has done to date is to promote home ownership in these 2 agencies, or promote home ownership around the country, where people are able to access affordable and decent housing. And we have started off with the Public Rental Board, where the board has assisted close to 117 tenants. These are the tenants that have been living in some of the estates for more than 3 decades. And this has really assisted these sitting tenants living in this house and PFB estates to call the property that have been renting for some time something that they call their own. And also for Housing Authority, they've also introduced new housing model. This is something that's going to also assist the people in accessing houses that are termite proof as well as fire resistant and are certified, engineer certified. And as of December this year, they are proposing to construct close to 450 homes. And the ministry's target for the next 5 years is for every 5 annually, the target is to produce as well as sell 1,200 homes, so they'll be able to meet the housing target of around 6,000 to 7,000 homes that we, units that we currently have right now. And the ministry will continue to support the people of Fiji by going to give out assistance to first owners, as well as providing assistance to us housing agencies like HUT, as well as Housing Authority and Public Rental Board, to assist the people in Fiji in acquiring or having a roof over their head. And I thank you, Honourable Speaker, for your opportunity and fully support the motion before the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thanks, the Minister for Housing, Honourable Lumisa, and I'll call on Honourable M. Chan to speak on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to contribute to the debate. At the outset, I acknowledge the work of the committee in scrutinizing the ministry's performance and the efforts of the ministry in addressing housing challenges across Fiji. Housing, Mr. Speaker, remains one of the most critical issues affecting our people. It is not merely about shelter, it is about dignity, security, and the foundation for a stable family life. The report highlights some notable achievements. We see that development leases have been secured for some informal settlements, and the government continues to support housing initiatives aimed at improving access to affordable housing. These are important steps in the right direction. However, the report also reveals deeper structural challenges that continue to persist. Mr. Speaker, I will be focusing on one of the most significant findings identified by the committee, and that is lack of awareness among stakeholders. regarding formal and informal housing arrangements. This is not a minor issue. It is, in my respectful view, one of the central reasons why informal settlements continue to grow and why many families remain in insecure living conditions. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter I have raised in previous sittings of this Parliament. Many families continue to live under informal arrangements for extended periods, often without a clear pathway towards formalization. These are not isolated cases. These are communities where people have lived for years without certainty and without the knowledge of how to transition into formal housing arrangements. What is evident is that there is a disconnect between policy and people. Government may establish programs, secure development leases, and design frameworks, but if the intended beneficiaries do not fully understand how to access those opportunities, then the effectiveness of those programs is significantly reduced. Mr. Speaker, it is not sufficient to simply have policies in place. The people, they must understand the process. They must know what steps to take, who to approach, and what is required of them to move from informal settlements into formal living arrangements where they can secure a lease and have legal recognition over their land. The committee has rightly recommended the need for awareness on acquiring legal land and building proper housing. I support this recommendation. However, I take the view that this must be strengthened and made more practical in its application. From my perspective, Mr. Speaker, government must go beyond general awareness campaigns and implement targeted community-based engagement strategies that directly address informal settlements. This means taking the process to the people, particularly in the areas informal settlements like Dalai Savani, Nambare, and many more in Lautoka and other areas. Communities must be guided in a structured and continuous manner so that residents clearly understand how they can regularize their status and secure leases. Mr. Speaker, last month I raised in Parliament on the lack of awareness and information to those residing in informal settlements. And a few days ago, Director Housing has confirmed that there will be a meeting with residents of informal settlements of Dalai Savani and Nambare, and I welcome that. I would like to thank the Director of Housing for agreeing to have meeting with the residents of informal settlements in Savani area. Mr. Speaker, there must also be greater coordination between the Ministry, ITLTV, and other relevant agencies to ensure that the pathway for formalization is not only available but also simplified. Too often the process is perceived as complex, slow, and uncertain. If we are serious about addressing informal settlements, then that process must be made more accessible and transparent. In addition, I am of the view that awareness must not be treated as a one-off exercise. It must be continuous and embedded within the broader housing strategy. Engagement with communities must be sustained, and information must be delivered in a manner that is practical, clear, and culturally appropriate. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, while we acknowledge the work that has been done, we stress that more must be done to ensure that awareness, accessibility, and practical guidance and prioritized in addressing informal settlement. The opposition stands ready to support measures that genuinely improve the lives of our people, but we still continue to advocate for stronger implementation and greater engagement with those most affected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank the Honorable M. Chan. I now call on the Honorable Kamikamica for his contribution.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and given the quality of the contributions of those who have spoken before me, I do not intend to exhaust the 5 minutes allocated. But perhaps just stating the obvious, Honorable Speaker, again, the report is dated. And in discussion with the Honorable Minister of Housing, the reports are now up to 2022-23. And so, again, I'd just like to emphasize that this side of the House, Honorable Speaker, is very committed to actually cleaning up a lot of the things that we've inherited from the other side of the House. I also I could not resist, Honorable Speaker, the other side of the House talks a little bit about good governance now and again. And I couldn't help but note that a certain chairman of the, oh no, it's the other one, but apologies. But Honorable Speaker, just like I said, we are cleaning up the mess that's inherited from that side of the House. And I'm very confident that by the time this session of Parliament ends, or our term in Parliament ends, the next government, and we'll be inheriting a very high quality, very high quality information in terms of financial information, Honorable Speaker. The other thing that I thought I'd mention, Honorable Speaker, is the housing challenge, and I think we all agree that we need to do more. And I thought I'd just in this House actually ask FNPF to seriously look at what they can do in terms of affordable housing, Honorable Speaker. When we talk about the membership, we know that the bulk of the membership of employment in Fiji is within the FNPF, and yet, however, to date, they have not reached out to discuss with Housing Authority how they can work together to actually try and activate the housing opportunity. If you want to talk in terms of economics, Honorable Speaker, as mentioned by the Honorable Minister, there's about 6,000 to 7,000 homes that are short in Fiji. That means that if you say average at around about 200,000 in terms of an affordable home, that's easily $1.2 to $1.4 billion of economic activity, Honorable Speaker, that we can generate. It's sitting right underneath our noses. So the second point I'd like to make is to reach out to FNPF. I've been having a personal conversation with the Minister of Housing, how we can do that. There are other models introduced by other private sector. So the need to collaborate with private sector is quite important to try and see how we can really activate. We've been talking about affordable homes for the last few years, but we really need to get on and move on with it. And so, Honorable Speaker, other than that, I congratulate the chairman of the committee for their report and acknowledge the findings that they have, the recommendations they have herein. And with those few words, Honorable Speaker, I'd like to support the motion before the House, Honorable Speaker.
I thank the Honorable Committee for his contribution. I now invite Honorable Virendra Lal to make his contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, they say that a house is built with bricks and mortar, but a home is built with hope. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we review the 2018-2019 annual report, we are looking at the foundation of this ministry as a standalone entity. We must acknowledge the vision and the hard work of the staff who stepped into a new role to prioritize the housing needs of our people. The intention behind the $41.4 million allocation was clear: to move Fiji closer to the goal of housing for all. Mr. Speaker, sir, we support the committee's findings as they offer a constructive roadmap for improving service delivery. While the report notes a budget utilization of 27% during that period, we must recognize the immense logistical task of setting up a new ministry and recruitment for over 50 vacant positions. These were not signs of failure, but rather the teething problems of a growing institution building its capacity to serve. We commend the First Home Ownership Initiative, which successfully assisted 1,500 households during this period. This is a policy that truly empowers our young families and provides them with a stake in our nation's future. And I totally agree with my colleague, Honorable Hem Chand, that more awareness needs to be done in regards to the first home ownership initiative. However, Mr. Speaker said, we must link these foundational efforts to our current reality in 2026. We note the Prime Minister's recent budget announcement of a $56 million relief package. This is a welcome measure that demonstrates the government's responsiveness to the immediate pressures on our households. But the House needs to know, is this a one-off patch or is there a long-term fiscal plan? Mr. Speaker, sir, a house is only as strong as its foundation, and the foundation of our housing sector is the financial stability of our families. If we want the successes of the first home ownership program to continue, we must ensure that the inflation we are seeing in construction and freight does not erase the progress we have made. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we look back at the utilization gaps of 2018, one needs to ask, what steps are being taken today to ensure that the relief funds and housing grants are actually reaching the ground before the July deadline? How is the ministry working with the private sector to lower the barrier for those trying to build in this high-cost environment? We are encouraged by the move to finish the Langi Langi housing units through the Public Rental Board, a move that shows the government is willing to learn from past challenges with third-party oversight. Mr. Speaker, sir, we support the report. We thank the ministry staff for their dedication during those early years. Let us continue to work together to ensure that our housing policies provide not just a temporary roof, but permanent security and dignity for every Fijian. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity. Naka.
Thank the Honorable Randolal. Our last speaker on the motion is the Honorable Tumbuna. I give the Honorable Member the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to share a few remarks in support of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs on the review of the Ministry of Housing and Community Development Annual Report 2018 to 2019. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the outset, I wish to commend the Standing Committee for its extensive review of the report and all the work that has been undertaken to compile and table the report. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the key findings outlined by the committee is that the ministry had attained development leases for 48 settlements around Fiji during 2018 and 2019. And 2019. I must congratulate the Ministry of Housing and Community Development for seeing that these communities and settlements are not only secured, but are formalized and recognized. I would like to suggest that in cases where it is difficult to formalize the leases and land parcels for individual tenants, the next option is to offer communities, community leases. If you go around some of the communities, they're still waiting for the leases to be provided to individual tenants. So I would suggest that if it's quite difficult to offer them individual leases, so it will be best that communities are provided with a community lease. And when you talk to some of these communities, they are very receptive of this idea. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, this often conflicts with the objectives that are set out by other institutions, such as TLTB, as it will not maximize the revenue that they will obtain from that parcel of land. The TLTB must be reminded that they must ensure that the government objective of establishing communities and conversion of informal to formal settlement is of paramount importance and should be accorded high priority. Mr. Speaker, sir, the formalization of informal settlements not only upgrades the living conditions, but also exclaims a sense of ownership and belonging of ordinary Fijians. I am also grateful that the Honourable Minister and his team for the due consideration of the Melanesian settlements. Last year, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Melanesian settlement at Umbati were being issued with eviction notice.
and told to leave as the land that was staying was demarcated of Housing Authority as subdivision. And I wish to thank the Minister for identifying an alternative site to resettle the 4 families from Medumbaki. And of course, I wish also to thank the Minister of Rural and Regional Development, Honorable Bultabu, for his generous support in ensuring that the houses are also to be provided to these families. I wish to raise another issue regarding the plight of the landowners. Most of the landowners around Fiji who have provided their land can be classified as, well, most of them are under poverty. Landowners such as those in Kalambu, Tamabua, and of course from my village, Suvavu, provided most of the land, and yet they are facing poverty. I was in Lambasan a few months ago, and I noticed that a large tract of land from one Yabusa at Tikinakawa of an Sekula was given to house, to resettle some of the people from the other sides of Honolulu. And I was wondering if those people were aware of the economic benefits of their land, and of course, the large tracts of the land that they have given. Mr. Speaker, sir, I highly recommend that those landowners that have given their land for informal settlements be compensated as they are undertaking the role of government in this regard. They have forfeited the economic benefits and income stream of their future generations. They have made the ultimate sacrifice and thus should be adequately compensated. I thank the Standing Committee on Social Affairs for their report. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I fully support the motion before the House.
I thank the Honourable Thambuna for his contribution. I will now call on the chairperson of the committee to speak in reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The committee noted the constructive contribution made by the honourable members during this debate on the review report of 2018-2019 Ministry of Housing and Community Development Annual Report. On that note, sir, we take this opportunity to thank the Permanent Secretary and the staff of the Ministry of Housing and Community Development for their commitment, dedication, and unwavering support, which have been instrumental in the successful operation of the ministry. Speaker, sir, I humbly request the Ministry of Housing and Community Development for the successful implementation of the recommendation put forward by the Standing Committee on Social Affairs. I fully support the motion for the House. Nasawali.
Thanks, the Chair. The Parliament will now vote to note the content of the report. Does any member oppose the motion? No, as no member opposes, the motion is agreed to unanimously. Final motion, I'll call upon the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Social Affairs, the Honourable Elias Manawalu, to move his third and final motion.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that Parliament debates the review report of the 2017 National Fire Authority Annual Report. It was tabled on the 30th of March 2026.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second.
Honourable Praveen Bala, I now invite the chairperson of the Standing Committee to speak on his motion.
Honourable Speaker, sir, the National Fire Authority has a rich history that began with the establishment of 5 fire services in Fiji. A key milestone in the NFA history are as follows. In the year 1922, the establishment of the new fire department in Suva, which paved the way for the establishment of NFA in 1995. In the year 1995, the NFA was formally established under the National Fire Service Act 1994, taking over from the board of the Fire Commission of Suva and all the municipal council. In the year 2010, the NFA included the provision of emergency ambulance services. Finally, in the year 2023, the NFA celebrated 100 years of service with plans to establish more fire stations and improve coverage across Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee in its deliberation highlighted the following recommendation. The committee recommends that the legislation governing NFA must be reviewed and more fire stations be strategically built, hence to ensure NFA provide a service to the people living outside the municipal boundaries. Secondly, the committee recommends that the government must increase NFA's operation funding to cater for the expanded fire services in rural or outside its legal boundaries. Thirdly, the committee recommends that an urgent review of the National Fire Service Act to give NFA power to enforce compliance and ensure people living in rural areas are covered under the Fiji National Building Code. While the committee recommends that NFA must purchase brand new firefighting trucks to replace the aging truck issues, the term life insurance of $10,000 for firefighters must also be reviewed and increased. Mr. Speaker, sir, finally, the committee recommends that all pending overtimes and meal allowance for the firefighters must be paid immediately, together with a review of current housing allowance. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, the Social Affairs Committee commends NFA for its continued commitment by providing effective firefighting services to the people of Fiji. The committee entrusts that the recommendation outlined in the report will support the NFA in achieving its objective by providing more effective service to the people of Fiji. On that note, sir, I thank you for the opportunity.
I thank the Honourable Chair. Honourable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion. I have a list of speakers with me. Each speaker is allocated 5 minutes each to deliver their contribution. And at the end of the debate, we will have the right to reply to the mover. I'll first invite the Honourable Ketan Lal to speak on this motion.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I rise to contribute to the debate on the committee report on the National Fire Authority, and I thank the committee members for their diligent work. Honourable Speaker, let me begin by acknowledging the courage and commitment of our firefighters. They are the ones who run into danger when everyone else runs away. They respond to fires, road accidents, natural disasters, and emergency without hesitation. But the question we must ask ourselves today is very simple. Are we giving them the support they deserve? Mr. Speaker, sir, this report is very clear. It highlights serious gaps in funding, equipment, infrastructure, and the welfare of our firefighters. First, the issue of funding. The law requires government to provide 25% funding to the National Fire Authority. The committee has confirmed that this requirement is not being met. This is not a matter of debate or interpretation. It is a failure to meet a legal obligation, Honourable Speaker. We cannot expect the firefighters and NFA to deliver quality service when we ourselves are not meeting the minimum standard set by law. Second, Honourable Speaker, is the issue of outdated equipment. We have firefighting trucks that are more than 30 years old. These trucks are expected to respond to modern emergencies on today's roads. Under increasing pressure, breakdowns and delays and inefficiencies are inevitable when we continue to rely on outdated machinery. Replacing these trucks is not only optional, it is an urgent need. Third, Honourable Speaker, is the issue of firefighters' welfare. The report confirms that firefighters have not been paid their overtime. Their meal allowances are underpaid, their housing allowances are insufficient, and their life insurance cover stands at only $10,000, while MPs get somewhere around $100,000. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is unacceptable. We are talking about individuals who risk their lives every single day. The least we can do is ensure they are paid properly, supported properly, and protected properly. Fourth, Honourable Speaker, is the issue of operational capacity. The National Fire Authority does not have enough specialized equipment. Procurement processes are slow and inefficient. Some fire stations lack basic maintenance. There are no specialized rescue boats in our country surrounded by water, especially during flood zones in Lambasa, when fire trucks cannot pass through or go through these normal roads. They need specialized boats to transfer pregnant women or pregnant mothers or even patients from one side to the other. Mr. Speaker, sir, fire trucks are also being used for carrying awareness programs and campaigns because there is no smaller vehicles for their outreach programs. This is not a resource problem, Honourable Speaker, it is a planning problem. I hope the Minister is listening to this as well. Fifth, the issue of coverage. The NFA is mandated to operate within municipal boundaries. Yet, in reality, Honourable Speaker, they are responding to emergencies outside those boundaries. Rural communities are relying on services that are not properly funded or legally structured to support them. At the same time, Honourable Speaker, the NFA cannot enforce building codes in these areas, which means unsafe structures continue to be built, increasing the risk of fire. Let me bring in a practical example from one of the community's site visit. At Senganga Fire Station, Honourable Speaker, there is no ambulance station there. This is a critical gap. Senganga is the closest response point for accidents along the Savu-Savu-Lambasa Highway, a major route with frequent traffic and accidents. In an emergency, response time is everything. The absence of an ambulance at a strategic location is a serious failure in planning and resource allocation. Honourable Speaker, I also want to address the issues of priorities at an institutional level. At the time when firefighters lack basic equipment and support, we are seeing discussions about new building developments for NFA. This is the wrong priority, Honourable Speaker. The core responsibility of NFA is to save lives and respond to emergencies. Every dollar and every decision should be put first, support that core function. Modern officers do not put out fires, equipment and trained personnel do. Mr. Speaker, sir, now let me turn to solutions. Fiji has strong diplomatic relations. We work closely with international partners. So why are we not using these partners to strengthen our fire services? We can seek assistance from countries like China, Australia, and New Zealand for firefighting trucks, rescue equipment, trainings, and infrastructure support. These partnerships already exist. We simply need to align them with our priorities. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
I thank the Honourable Ketchenlam. I will call next on the Minister for Housing, Honourable Nalumisa, for his contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Speaker, sir, I rise to support the motion for the House. Also respond to the review report of 2017 National Fire Authority annual report. And I will first thank the Social Affairs Committee for a thorough and a balanced report. The outset, Mr. Speaker, sir, I commend the board, management, and firefighters of the National Fire Authority for their dedication in delivering critical emergency services under constrained conditions. The Speaker's service to inform this August House that from 2019 onwards, the authority has worked closely with the Office of the Auditor General, and all subsequent final statements up to 2023 have been unqualified. This demonstrates improved governance and financial discipline. The Speaker's key concern raised by the committee is a failure to meet the statutory 25% government funding contribution as per the NFA Act. I'm pleased to inform this House, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this requirement has now been fulfilled under this coalition government, beginning the 2024-2025 financial year. This also has enabled implementation of a 20% salary adjustment for our firefighters, addressing long-term standing welfare concerns. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee rightly highlighted that the authority has been operating beyond its legal mandate, which is responding to a fire outside municipal boundaries. I wish to inform this August House that Cabinet, 31st of March 2026, approved the expansion of fire boundaries, which are now the process of being gazetted. The fire boundaries, Mr. Speaker, sir, were dating back to 1994. This is a critical reform that aligns legislation with reality, given that nearly half of the fire incidents occur outside existing boundaries. This reform will also strengthen revenue collection through levies, improving authorities' long-term financial sustainability. I wish to raise a concern on the increase in the number of fire incidents around the country, which is quite alarming. Recently, the loss of lives in house fires, in particular the recent fire in Bolevo, where 5 lives were lost. We sympathize with the families and relatives of the deceased, and we encourage members of the public to practice basic fire safety principles. In view of the alarming increase in fires, the authority continues to raise concerns that 90 to 95% of the structural fires are residential. The authority supports the finalization of the National Building Code and its demanded for fire safety compliance of residential properties. One of the concerns raised by the committee is on aging fire appliances, which are over 30 years old. And I wish to inform Parliament that the authority has a vehicle replacement plan policy in place. It began in 2019 with procurement of brand new 20,000 litres fire truck, 2 by 3,000 litres fire truck, as well as 1 by 6,000 litres pumping capacity fire truck in 2024, 3 by 3,000 fire truck in 2025, and 5 by 3,000 litres are currently being manufactured in Australia. Mr. Speaker, sir, the other issue is on the provision housing allowance, which is designed to subsidize housing costs to all firefighters based on affordability to the organization. The housing allowances are divided into 2 tiers: allowances for single officers and 1 for married officer. The National Fire Authority is investing $882,000 of housing allowances to 704 firefighters across the country per annum. And as I have alluded to earlier, housing allowances is subsidy provision under goodwill to support the welfare of all firefighters. And also, the authority, Mr. Speaker, so going forward, will ensure that we also include provision of accommodation for all the new, there's a design as well as construction of new fire stations around our country. And in terms of capacity building, the authority has also been collaborating with the Queensland Fire Department, which provide technical training in the swift water rescue, urban search and rescue, as well as height rescue skills under International Search and Rescue Advisory Group framework. And also, we have also upgraded the emergency ambulance services with the paramedics being certified as emergency medical technicians. These were acquired through training with the Taiwanese National Fire Agency. Recently, Speaker, sir, 4 firefighters acquired Level 2 Swift Water Rescue Training in Queensland, while 5 firefighters attended the Fire Investigation Training in Brisbane, which both organized by the Queensland Fire Department in Australia. These officers are SEED instructors for the authority. And I assure this August time, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the authority remains committed to this mission, that is to preserve life, property, environment through community education, disaster emergency risk reduction, and dedicated, caring, efficient, and quality services. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I fully support the motion before the House.
I thank the Honourable Nalumisa. The next speaker is Honourable Praveen Bala. Invite him to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to speak on the committee's report into the National Fire Authority. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me begin with a simple truth. Fire safety knows no politics. Flames do not ask whether you voted for opposition or the government. A burning home does not wait for a parliamentary inquiry. A firefighter risking their life does not care about party colors. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the outset, we would like to commend the National Fire Authority for doing more with less. Mr. Speaker, sir, I urge the Line Minister to look into the appointment of the board of NFA. Mr. Speaker, say, key findings 3.1 commends the National Fire Authority for providing efficient fire services, even though they are only mandated to operate within municipal boundaries. But now we are being told by the line minister that Cabinet has given their approval to carry out these services outside the municipal boundaries. Mr. Speaker, sir, we support recommendation 4.1, that is the review of the legislation, and also to build fire stations outside municipal boundaries. And recommendation 4.2, Mr. Speaker, say, increase operational funding for rural fire services. Mr. Speaker, said the committee's findings focus on structural fires. But we face new and growing fire dangers that this report does not fully capture. Let me add three, Mr. Speaker, say. First, climate change. Fiji will experience longer dry seasons, higher temperatures, and more extreme weather. The Fiji Met Services confirm, Mr. Speaker, say, in its 2025 annual report that drought conditions now increase the risk of wildfires in grasslands and forest edges, especially in rural and maritime areas. Mr. Speaker, say, the National Fire Authority is not equipped for bush fires, and I would like to urge the Honourable Minister to look into this as well. Second, Mr. Speaker, say, environmental neglect. Mr. Speaker, say, illegal dumping of waste, unmanaged dry grasses along roadsides, and banning of rubbish in informal settlements have become common. Every dry spell, we see smoke. The National Fire Authority responds to these calls, again without funding, again outside its mandate. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, say, informal settlements. The same housing crisis we debated earlier has led to the overcrowded homes built from corrugated iron, plywood, and flammable materials. One attended candle, one faulty wire, one cooking fire, and the whole settlement goes up, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, said the solution is not just more fire trucks. The solution is also prevention through planning. We recommend, as a supplement to this report, Mr. Speaker, say, that the National Fire Authority work with the Ministry of Housing, Ministry of Environment, and local utilities to conduct fire risk audits for all informal settlements, educate residents, and this costs very little. It saves many lives, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, say, according to key finding 3.3, National Fire Authority cannot enforce compliance of the Fiji National Building Code in the settlements and rural areas because the law does not give them power outside the municipal boundaries, but now it will because Cabinet has endorsed that. We have just heard from the Honourable Minister. Recommendation 4.5, Mr. Speaker, say, asks for the consultation with the Ministry of Education to review the program for different school levels. We agree and we add to introduce fire safety drills in every primary school once per term, Mr. Speaker. Say. The National Fire Authority can train teachers. The benefit is a generation that knows how to escape from fire. Finding 3.6, Mr. Speaker, say, the National Fire Authority only provides fire safety training upon request of employers. This is reactive, Mr. Speaker. Say. We need proactive. Recommendation 4.6 calls, last one. Recommendation 4.6 calls for the employers to adhere to the training requirements, Mr. Speaker. Say. We support, but the Ministry for Employment must send operators to the construction sites, factories, and hotels. No compliance on them, but the safety cannot be optional. With these few comments, Mr. Speaker, say, I thank you.
I thank the Honourable Bala. I next call on the Honourable Aliki Bia for his contribution.
Honourable Speaker, I rise to contribute and support the motion that is before the House, and that is the review report of the 2017 National Fire Authority Annual Report. Honorable Speaker, as one of the members of the committee, we were privileged enough to have visited majority of the fire stations around the country. And apart from the major key findings and recommendations that have identified by the committee, there are other issues which I believe it is vital for the development of the NFA going forward. Honorable Speaker, one of the aspects that we need to consider, and maybe a good suggestion to the minister responsible, is that for the future, the setup of every fire station to have the same setup as that of the police station around the country, where all fire stations must have barracks within its vicinity to accommodate NFA officers. Honorable Speaker, this is very important because for fire stations in the rural areas, officers do live far away from the station. And when they are needed for an emergency or when there's a major fire, they cannot make it to the station. So if there's an aspect that needs to be considered, that is introducing a plan where barracks can also be built within the vicinity of every fire station. This can also solve the problem of the housing or the lodgement allowance regarding firefighters all around the country. Honorable Speaker, the other key issues in the review report is the procurement of new road rescue equipments for the NFA. So apart from putting out fires, they also engage themselves daily in terms of road rescue mission. Now, because of the equipments they use are so old, sometimes they do struggle with road rescue missions. Now, Honorable Speaker, the sooner the better is for NFA to acquire these road rescue equipments through government, given that this is part of the work that they do daily, taking into consideration the road accidents that do occur. While talking about rescue, Honorable Speaker, ever since NFA have been involved in rescue operations during flooding, they don't have any rescue boat. They are improvising on the resources on the ground when there's any flooding. So acquiring small rescue dinghy boats to fire stations located in the flood-prone areas is vital for NFA. Honorable Speaker, at the moment, National Fire Authority don't have the capability to attend ships, vessels, or boat fire rescue out at sea. If this is something that can be considered for the future, a NFA fire rescue vessel, as alluded to yesterday by the Honorable Wilhelmina Poto while discussing about the bill that was presented yesterday. To conclude, Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank all firefighters around the country for their hard work and dedication. And with those few words, Honorable Speaker, I support the motion before the House. Vinaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I call next on Honorable Vijay Nath.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the debate on the review report of the 2017 annual report on the National Fire Authority. I support this report because fire safety is not a political issue. It is a matter of protecting life, home, businesses, and the future of our community. Mr. Speaker, the increasing number of fire incidents across Fiji in recent years is deeply concerning. We have witnessed devastating residential fire, shop fire, market fire, and even industrial and commercial property losses that have left families displaced and business owners financially ruined. In many cases, Mr. Speaker, people have lost not only properties, but also their life savings, livelihood, and sadly, even loved ones. This incident raised serious questions. Are our prevention system strong enough? Are our emergency response capability adequate? Are public awareness campaign reaching the people who need them most? These are the questions Parliament must address honestly, Mr. Speaker. The committee review of the 2017 report highlights both progress and continuing challenges within the National Fire Authority. While the authority has continued to deliver critical fire and emergency services, there remain major concerns regarding outdated equipment, limited station coverage in rural area, shortage of personnel, and growing demand for fire safety inspections and public education. Mr. Speaker, one of the major causes of fire in Fiji remains electrical fault. unsafe wiring, overloading power point, poor quality electrical installations, and few other unknown, Mr. Speaker, that places the families at risk. In informal settlement and older house, these dangers are even greater. We must strengthen inspection standard and ensure stricter enforcement and electrical safety regulations. Another major issue in public awareness. Many families do not have basic fire safety knowledge. Schools, community, and workplace must receive regular fire safety education. Simple measures such as safe gas handling, checking electrical wiring, insulating smoke alarms, and having evacuation plans can save lives. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to stress the need of stronger building compliance. Some building continues to operate without proper fire extinguishers, alarms, or approved evacuation system. Enforcement must not only exist on paper, but in practice. There must be accountability for compliance, non-compliance, Mr. Speaker. In supporting this report, I propose the following actions. First, the government must increase budgetary support for the National Fire Authority to modernize firefighting equipment, vehicles, station, and infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, you might recall during budgetary committee of supply, I proposed this to this House, but most of the honorable ministers and members were laughing on my proposal, and it was voted out. Secondly, more fire stations must be established in rural and maritime areas where emergency response time remains too long. Thirdly, there must be stronger collaboration between the National Fire Authority, local councils, schools, and communities for regular fire prevention campaign. And, Mr. Speaker, stricter building inspections and electrical compliance, smoke detection extractors should be also placed. Mr. Speaker, we all have witnessed the tireless struggle our firefighters have worked as they worked day and night to protect our community, often putting their own life at high risk. Their courage and sacrifice must not go unnoticed. I have personally witnessed numerous fire incidents, Mr. Speaker, particularly along Bowliver Road, where 3 separate occasions, including 4 major fires, we joined to assist the firefighters, and at times we stood helplessly watching families lose everything they have built over lifetime. Mr. Speaker, one of the most and the worst house fire in Fiji's recent history is the Bowliver Road Netasiri house fire on Thursday, 23rd April 2026, where five family members lost their lives after the home was engulfed in flame. One was cremated today, Mr. Speaker. There were other fires, Mr. Speaker, over the weekend. That was in Diloloma, Vaga Road. A devastating fire destroyed a home of 5 families, leaving them nothing but the clothes on their back. And I salute the youth of the area, Mr. Speaker. 3 of the youth, they forcefully opened the house, entered the house, and saved and rescued a man who had inhaled heavy smoke and had become unresponsive inside the house. Their quick action saved a life. Not only that, Mr. Speaker, the other youth climbed their neighbor's rooftop, carrying pressure hose pipe to stop the flame from spreading to the next home victim. Another fire, Mr. Speaker, was in Coronivia, just recently, 2 days ago. All these fires, Mr. Speaker, you will find they are approximately 100 meters away from the river or from the creek. Honorable Minister have just mentioned they have placed water for more fire trucks. They have got more fire trucks from 24 budget, 25 budget. But Mr. Speaker, when the fire, he hasn't done his homework, Mr. Speaker, because if you see these fire trucks, they carry about approximately 3,000 to 5,000 liters of water. And it will finish, they operate, the high pressure machine operates just for 750 kPa. 750. If you use one house at 64 mm, Mr. Speaker, at about 100 meters, the water will finish in 9 minutes. But they use 2 houses of 64 mm, and the water will finish. The water will finish in 3 minutes, Minister. What you need, because I have witnessed it. Mr. Speaker, The fire in Letter in Baulevu, I have witnessed, I've seen the corpse falling down from the floor.
Right.
When they were sleeping maybe, they were in the room and I saw, I have witnessed what Mr. Speaker I'm saying and I want to share with you. Around, the fire started around 1 p.m. I reached there the fire started 1 a.m. I reached there at 2 a.m. in the morning, Mr. Speaker, and I saw what I saw when the firefighters were there. I saw when the bed was bent, the spring was there, and the two corpses fell down from the height. Physically, it was physically which I have seen. Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to say, all the rivers and creeks are just 100 meters away. We don't need the trucks, Mr. Minister. What we need is the portable water pumps. During Honorable Bala's times, the pumps were there. Where are they? We need portable fire pumps and we need portable water pumps. Mr. Speaker, when the water finishes, you can just pump from the river.
I'll have to stop you. I'll have to stop you. Please sit down. Sit down. Sit down. You sit. Take a seat. You're way over your time. Right? I have given you enough time to conclude. Thank you. We'll move on to the next speaker. Honorable Kamikamica, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I will try to be brief in terms of my contribution. But firstly, I've always been watching the National Fire Authority since its creation with a lot of interest, just because I found it interesting that the government had decided at some point to transition to a fire authority. I remember the days when some of my uncles used to travel from Ndrava village to the fire station in Suva. And I have to say, Honorable Speaker, that we have developed over time a very formidable, professional workforce in terms of our fire authority, Honorable Speaker. And so I thought I'd place on record the gratitude of certainly this side of the House and to the Honorable Minister for ensuring that some of the good work that started in its creation continues to today. I was quite intrigued about Honorable Nath's very lively sort of expressions regarding underinvestment. And all I can say, Honorable Nath, is a lot of it maybe happened in the 16 years. There wasn't much investment happening in the fire. The classic example is the 25%, Honorable Speaker, that had been denied to the fire authority was put in place by this government under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister. That has quite significantly transitioned the fire authority. They are more motivated. They got sort of pay rises, I think, as well, Honorable Speaker. So we've created a motivated workforce merely by providing what they legally were justified to get, Honorable Speaker. I thought I'd just touch a bit on, Honorable Speaker, on the National Fire Authority. To me, it is an authority, particularly when we're looking at governments expanding. It is an entity that can generate more revenue if we diversify their income schemes, Honorable Speaker. For instance, there's a lot of work that they're now doing in terms of road rescue. And I'm not too sure whether they are being paid for that work. And perhaps that is one avenue that can be looked at by government to ensure that they are paid for what they are doing. They've invested in the relevant equipment and also sort of doing the work that very good work, I have to say, in terms of rescue. Also, I do note that the levies for the fire levy particularly, Honorable Speaker, it was the last time it was updated was 1995. Again, under investment. And so, Honorable Speaker, maybe perhaps at the appropriate time. We know that fuel prices are at a high level at the moment. But, at the appropriate time, perhaps, a review can be made to ensure that, over time, the National Fire Authority can be more sustainable. And I couldn't resist this, but just mention in terms of, the fire levies that are paid, maybe to tier them somewhat, Honorable Speaker, so that the companies that are higher risk and can afford it because of the revenue structures they have can pay a bit more to the National Fire Authority to allow them to broaden out their services. Honorable Speaker, finally, I thought I'd just also support particularly the part of the report that talked about regulation, Honorable Speaker. And, the fact that the National Fire Authority Act needs to be reviewed, and more importantly, the building code. We are experiencing on this side of the House the fact that a lot of legislation or regulation refers back to the National Building Code, and hopefully that is something that we can deal with, probably towards the end of this year, and maybe when the new government comes back. So, Honorable Speaker, once again, I congratulate the Chairman of the Social Affairs Standing Committee and the committee members for their report and the recommendations. And thankfully, as we all note, this side of the House has actioned a lot of the items that are in that report already, and I support the motion before the House.
I thank the Honourable Kamkamida. Final contribution this evening is from the Honourable Chani Usman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'd like to thank the committee for the work that it has done in producing this report on the National Fire Authority report of 2017. It's a bit dated, but I was glad to see that I read through the report so that a lot of the discussions were things that were more recent. And I thank also the work that people that are members of the community that are committed to dealing with these things. The Honorable Vijay Nath, who was very impassioned, has just come back from dealing with the aftermath of one of those fires. So that's perhaps the reason that he was very impassioned about the things that he's talking about. That's why he was missing from Parliament this morning. Mr. Speaker, so one of the recommendations that we have here is the recommendation to have more fire stations to be strategically built. Mr. Speaker, sir, for the last 11 years of the last government, 12 stations were built. 11 years, 12 stations. Last 4 years, any stations? 0. 11 years, 12 stations. So keep that. So the Deputy Prime Minister, every time that he says last 16 years, let me tell him 11 years, 12 stations. He's the one he keeps saying last 16 years.
Order.
Korobo, Koroleu, Senganga, Tavioni, Raki, Lami, and on and on and on. And every time we build a station, it's not just a building. It's because it's equipment that's built over time, facilities, expertise, that's all built. And that demonstrates what has happened over time. So, okay, that's established. You have built nothing. We did 12 in 11 years. So remember that. One of the things that I noticed, Ms. Speaker, when I was looking at the verbatim of the report, one of the things that is, I think one of the challenges that we have, one of the staff of the NFA, they actually said that one of the tendencies people have now is that when they see a fire, rather than report it to NFA, they take a picture and post it. And I found that quite shocking because in the verbatim of the meeting of the committee, this gentleman actually said that they learned about the fire 10 minutes later from the post. So I think one of the challenges that we have is to educate our people about what they need to do when a fire takes place. I think it's a challenge for all of us. All of us as leaders, we need to spread that particular message, Mr. Speaker. One of the things I also noticed about the report for 2017, it's probably improved now, that there was no really detailed analysis against corporate plans. It talked about a lot of activities. So hopefully I think that's been improving the time. And at the end of the verbatim, Mr. Speaker, sir, I noticed the performance of NFA 2020 to 21 was 71%.
Performance against the corporate plan targets 2021 to 22 was 75%. 2022 to 23 is 91%. Then there's been a drop over this past two periods. So I think that is also a challenge. It's dropped down to 61% and down to 68%. That could be a reflection of changing the targets, making them more difficult, or it could be a reflection of the actual performance. But that is something that needs to be addressed there. So as I was thinking about, Mr. Speaker said that we did 12 stations in 11 years, maybe the Honorable former Deputy Prime Minister was not aware of that because he was in Papua New Guinea for a lot of that period. I also endorse the recommendations that we have here for the equipment. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the recommendations is that committee recommends that NFA must ensure that the employers adhere to the training requirements that is part of the compliance. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have been in this parliament as an opposition parliamentarian for 3+ years. I've never experienced a fire drill here. I've never experienced a fire drill here in government buildings. So I think this brings the message home. Even here in government, I have never experienced a fire drill. Normally, you normally have 2 fire drills there. Does everybody in parliament know where to go if there's a fire? So those are good questions for us to ponder. As we think about these things, we need to come back to home and see what we need to do ourselves. I was talking to the Honorable Premier today. She talked about the time that she went overseas for study in Netherlands. And before she left, she actually sat down with her children and asked them, what are you going to do when there's a fire? And the reply was they would hide under the bed. So it also shows the need for us to be able to teach them what they're supposed to do when there's a fire. And I think some of those messages probably bring back, as we read these reports, we need to bring it home to ourselves and what we can do to help the work that is done by NFA and all of its staff. And I thank them, firefighters over the years. And I remember there used to be the Silver Fire Brigade, the one at Nesuno. I used to play volleyball against them back in those days when I could still jump. But I want to thank all of them that through the years have carried out the battle against the fires. And I think it brings to home this particular report that we ourselves have little things that we can do on our own to help prevent fires from taking place. Thank you, sir. I thank the Honorable John Usmati. I'm sure Parliament will take on board the suggestion of the fire drill. I know we've done tsunami drills, but fire drill is different totally, as you well know. Thank you. I will now call on the chairperson of the Standing Committee to speak in reply.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, sir. The committee noted all the positive contribution made by all the honourable members during the debate on this review report of 2017 National Fire Authority annual report. Honourable Speaker, sir, I take this opportunity to thank the board members, the chief executive officers, and the staff of National Fire Authority Fiji-wide for their commitments, dedication, unwavering support, which have been instrumental to the successful operation of NFA. Mr. Speaker, sir, I humbly request the National Fire Authority successful implementation of the recommendation put forward by the Standing Committee on Social Affairs. On that note, sir, I fully support the motion before the House. That's our leave.
Thank the Chair. I will now ask the Parliament to vote to note the content of the report. Does any member oppose the motion? As no member opposed the motion, it is agreed to unanimously. Honourable members, that brings us to the end of today's sitting. I thank you for your contribution. I do not know whether we qualify for any supper tonight. Yeah, we do. Right. So, SG is kind enough to offer all of you hardworking MPs some sustenance after this. So, thank you for your contributions, and Parliament is now adjourned until tomorrow at 9:30.